Ang after-hours train depot promise on the punch card. The train depot never really sleeps. It just leans into a different kind of noise. By day it's families, commuters, apologies in briefcases. After midnight it becomes an echo chamber of steel and sodium light. I pass through the side gate with my phone face down in my left pocket, the pocket I use for things that are supposed to make it home, and nodded at the night dispatcher, who looked up from his crossword like I'd just confessed something. The air smelled of grease and old coffee, a perfume you don't forget. Back home, Daniel had said, "Can we talk tomorrow?" in the voice that really means please stay now. Our couch is excellent at becoming a witness stand. If we sit at opposite ends long enough, it swears us in and lets us invent the law. I left before we filed exhibits that would embarrass us at breakfast. On the service stairs, my screen lit with a message from R. Rafael in my contacts, R in the way I label hazards to make them smaller. Depot floor. Just talk. He didn't add punctuation. He trusts my guilt to supply it. By day, I fix other people's paragraphs for a publishing house that thinks verbs are currency. By night, I try not to turn my own into weapons. Daniel and I keep a code that works when we remember it. T means come here. You awake. Means I'm scared. Tomorrow means not yet, but please don't go far. Rafael drifted back into orbit 2 months ago when I wrote a profile on rail workers. He walked me through signals and engines with the tenderness of someone who likes machines because they're honest about failing. He wore a work jacket unzipped one too many, a beanie that had seen better winters, and a laugh that sounded like a glass agreeing to be set down gently. He didn't ask for anything. That was how I started bringing him everything. The depot floor was half lit, all shadow and echo. Engines idled like animals too tired to hunt. Raphael stood by the punch clock with his jacket sleeves shoved up, collar unpunished, holding a stack of blank cards like a deck of small prophecies. He looked at me as though the hour had been written across my face. "You came," he said, "because grown men never tire of pretending a rival is a plot twist." "I came to return something," I said. "My time card, your restraint." "Your name," I told him. "It's been on my mouth too long for its own health." He slid a blank punch card across the counter and set a blunt pencil on top, the kind that doesn't bother pretending to be elegant. "3 words," he said. "Why are you here?" "3 words is cruel," I said. "That's why they work." He tapped the little square where dates should go. "No speeches by the engines. They drown monologues on principle." I wrote proud at breakfast. Beneath it, smaller like a fuse I might or might not light, touch before arguing. He read the graphite as if it had heat. He didn't touch me. His hand hovered a breath from my lapel, the distance a match keeps during training, and fell back to the counter like the depot itself had said not yet. "Does he know?" Raphael asked. He didn't need to weaponize the pronoun. "He knows the apartment is quiet," I said. He gestured toward a maintenance bay where a half-lit locomotive sulked like a forgotten king. "Engines cheat," he said. "You patch them, they leak elsewhere. They break the same way again because that's who they are." "Is that your excuse or your invitation?" I asked. "Both," he said. Heat arrived before hands do when men are trying to be better than their appetites. He took one step closer, his voice dropping like it wanted to survive. "Tell me no," he said. I didn't. I met him in the inch that rewrites evenings. His mouth tasted like mint and a long shift. When his hand found the back of my neck, his grip remembered humane limits. My body answered like a courtroom that wants the witness anyway. He made the sound men make when a small country surrenders and calls it diplomacy. I made the one I've learned not to hate when it belongs to him. He didn't rush. Steel punishes speed. His mouth found the hinge of my jaw, mine found the line behind his ear where regret loses vocabulary. His palm slipped under my shirt and rested flat for a second, do you swear? Then moved with attention rather than appetite. He guided my hand down with the steadiness of someone who respects torque. I closed my fingers and he exhaled into my mouth a truth nobody had paid for. He reached for me and I let him. We stayed quiet because engines prefer pros. Somewhere a brake line hissed like an accomplice. "We already cheated," he said when breath remembered its job. "We cheated the week we started telling each other the truth before we told it at home." "I know," I said, "and the depot kept running because it always does." He folded the punch card and slid it into my left pocket with ceremonial slowness. His thumb traced my wrist once and chose not to stay. He stepped back the moral inch that passes inspection. "I booked a bunk at the Union Hostel," he said, not triumphant. "Weather report, not prophecy. Refundable. We could stand at the window and not touch for 60 seconds, prove we remember ceremony. We could keep the do not disturb honest." "I'm tired of being clever," I said. "Clever's a timetable," he said. "Accurate is the delay you admit." He dug into his pocket and produced a novelty magnet shaped like a train whistle, ridiculous and perfect, and pressed it into my palm. "For your fridge," he said. "Cold helps letters behave." He showed me the logbook where delays are recorded like sins that need clerks more than gods. "Everything's written down," he said, "even the things no one wants to announce." He didn't look at me when he said it. I didn't make him. Outside, the night had chosen a temperature and meant it. The crosswalk gave me time, I took it. The apartment offered its square of kitchen light and the fridge's patient hum. Daniel sat on the floor with his back against the door, sleeves pushed to his elbows, one ankle crossed over the other, the posture manuals use when they draw people who are about to fix things. He didn't ask where I'd been. He tilted his head toward the space beside him. I sat. "Do you want to be asked?" he said, voice steady, not performing mercy, offering it. "Please," I said, because prompts are the scaffolding of my better self. "Are you lonely?" "Some nights," I said. "Not here. Not when you ask first. Not when the kettle outruns the reasons." I took his wrist and placed his hand on my forearm the way he does when he needs to be sure I'm not inventing weather. His thumb traced once and believed me. "I feel useful," he said. "I want to be wanted before I'm useful." "Tonight's procedure," I said. "Touch first, argue second, report later." The kettle clicked like a semaphore. He poured water over mint. We named it dinner because names are cheaper than regret. I pinned the folded punch card beneath the whistle magnet so Proud at Breakfast faced the room. Daniel read the graphite and his mouth did the smaller, braver thing. He picked up the dry erase marker from the cup by the fridge and wrote beneath the magnet, "Tomorrow, keep the torque." He didn't grin. He nodded like a man assembling a morning from honest screws. We made a rule that isn't noble. When prosecution tries to wear a bathrobe, one of us says depot and the other puts the kettle on while the first puts his hands where history can find them. 5 words when 5 are enough. Stop at the shoulder, not the ditch. Try to want what we promised, and when we don't, write 3 words on small paper and tell the room where we'll fail differently tomorrow. Days do what days do when you're trying to be an amateur human with professional consistency. The punch card in my pocket learned the shape of my left hand. Paper learns its carriers. On the late tram, I drafted messages to no one that began "I didn't ask" because I thought that counted as kindness and ended "May your breakfast go right." I didn't send them. The not sending felt like a skill borrowed from signals. Wait, then move. A week later, afternoon tried to be a test. A deadline refused to bend. The sky rehearsed thunder it didn't deliver. I walked past the depot and bought nothing. I left a bottle of water on the bench near the time clock with a note, "For whoever is waiting for a sister." A machinist gave me the nod bridges use when they've held and will hold again. On my way home, I slipped a blank timetable into my pocket and wrote "Turn toward your name" across the clean side. I didn't light anything. Rafael and I adjusted our grammar. Fewer messages. No hostels pretending to be clean slates. If we failed quieter. If we stopped without applause. Still, we orbited. He sent a photo of a grease-smudged wrench with my initials hidden in the teeth. I replied with steam curling over 2 mugs and Daniel's unshowy script beneath the magnet, torque. We flirted by schedules. We confessed by maintenance. On a rain-sincere evening, a freight jammed outside the depot. Raphael texted, "Blocked switch. Need hands. Bring nothing you can't ruin." I was 3 blocks away and too willing. We wrestled levers until the stubborn metal remembered mercy. When it shifted, he leaned into me with the exhaustion of someone who respects work more than victory. He kissed me beside the control panel that hadn't yet decided whether to forgive us. My back hit cold steel. His hand found my hip. Somewhere a signal clicked green like a verdict pretending to be kind. We didn't rush. We mapped mercy with our mouths and rehearsal with our hands. His palm slid under my shirt and paused. "Do you swear?" Then moved only as far as the better version of me allowed. I bracketed him with a grip he could leave without proving anything. He reached for me and I let him. We stayed quiet because the night had already kept more secrets than it could handle. "We're bad at quitting," he said into my collar. "We're good at failing differently," I said into his jaw. He laughed once, stubborn and soft, and pressed his forehead to mine. "Text me a weather report in the morning," he said. "Tell me if the kettle beat the reasons." "It usually does," I said, "when we let it." Daniel met me at home with the posture of a question he had decided not to weaponize. He smelled like basil and laundry that wanted second chances. "Hungry?" he asked. We ate toast like it had just been invented. After, he wrote under the magnet, "Ask before leaving." I wrote, "Hold me first." We signed it like it meant something. Maybe it did. The depot keeps 2 truths: trains arrive, trains leave. People pretend the schedules are morality, but it's just steel agreeing to move when you tell it. I still carry the punch card in my left pocket. It warms against my thigh like a quiet engine, heavier than pulp has any right to be. Proud at breakfast. Touch before arguing. Choose the hard. None of it is noble. All of it is procedural, like coupling cars in the dark. Loud, dangerous, necessary, and if you're careful, survivable. Outside, the city chooses a temperature and holds it. Inside, our kitchen hums a modest hymn. Daniel leans against the counter and asks, "Are you staying?" without making it a trap. "I'm trying to want what I promised," I say. "Help me make more minutes where that's easy." He nods, writes "Read me closely" on a clean card. I write beneath it, "Handle with care." We pin it under the whistle magnet, absurd and effective. And when we say tomorrow out loud, it means only what we let it mean.